How are you supposed to survive as a first-time home buyer in Denver in 2024? Let's rock and roll. Welcome back to the channel, Marco Randazzo, everything you need to know about living in Denver. If you are considering a move into Denver as a first-time home buyer or within Denver as a first-time home buyer, this video is for you, a future homeowner here in Denver. Again, my name is Marco. I'm a realtor with 8Z Real Estate here in Denver. I've sold over 100 homes in the last 4 years, and lots of those were to first-time home buyers. So I'm here to share my valuable insights with you and guide you through the essential steps you will need to know so that we can make this process smoother for you. So grab a pen and paper or your favorite note-taking app, whatever you use, as we explore what to expect as a first-time home buyer in Denver this year, 2024. Let's go.
Home sweet home.
Let's kick things off by trying to understand Denver's real estate landscape in 2024. So Denver has been a hot market and prices have been on the rise. However, recent trends indicate a more balanced market, which could be advantageous for buyers more so than it was in the previous years. It's very crucial to be aware of current market conditions so that you can make an informed decision about your purchase. So here's a graph that shows the median sale prices of homes in Denver over time. And you'll see that they always rise in the spring and typically fall in the winter, but the trajectory is always up. Now, post-COVID has been a really interesting time because prices went up really fast and homes were flying off the market. And interest rates were really low at that time, which is a big reason homes sold fast. And there was the big spike in prices. And then in 2022 in the summer, so a year and a half ago, it's when interest rates really started going up a lot. And that was the first slowdown in years that Denver had seen. And people started buying houses slower, homes started selling for less. And so looking at the graph of 2022 from the summer to the winter, you'll see the biggest decline in prices. But then in the spring, this year, 2023, prices went back up again, even though interest rates were high, and they continued to rise, and they went up to like 8%. And thankfully now in 2024, they've started to drop, which is good for buyers. But generally speaking, and this is from my experience, the buying process is not nearly as competitive as it was in 2020, 2021, or 2022, which for a buyer is really good. Most of the buyers I work with these days are able to get the home at the list price or below, or to get the seller to chip in some concessions, versus in 2019 and 20 and 2021, it was like you were probably up against multiple offers, sometimes like dozens of offers, which made it really tough and competitive for buyers. So the landscape right now, if you're choosing to enter the market, just so you know, it's easier than it has been. But buying a home is a very significant financial commitment. So you've got to be sure it's the right thing for you. You will need to assess your financial situation, establish a budget, and then secure pre-approval for a mortgage. So for a few minutes, we're going to talk about the importance of the finances here. This is a big piece, is probably the biggest one, is that you're financially ready to rock and that you understand the process. There are thousands of realtors and there's thousands of lenders. Okay, so you need to make sure you're working with a realtor and a lender that you trust and that's a good fit for you. I'm not the right fit to work with everyone. Some people want to work with someone who's much older or someone who wears a tie. That's great. You can go find one of them. But I am grateful to have been able to help a ton of clients successfully navigate the first-time home buying process because I love what I do and I'm good at it. And I've done it with a man bun and earrings. So if you want to work with me, there you go. Now, on the lending piece, if you need a good lender recommendation, I'm going to drop the contact information in the notes for Allie Williams of Collective Mortgage. She is incredible. She's helped tons of my first-time home buyers. Doesn't commit you to working with her to get approved, okay? But it will help you get clarity on the process and understand your options. So I highly recommend reaching out to Allie if you want to get more serious about knowing your financial options. Okay, so once you've gotten pre-approved and you understand, okay, I want to buy a house for X amount, I am approved for that, it works for my budget, great. That's one of the most important steps of this entire process. The next piece is going to be to know how much cash you need to have saved up. So this last year, 2023, I sold 24 houses. 7 of those were first-time home buyers, and the average price of those 7 homes was $525,000. By the way, that's less than the median sale price of Denver in general. Okay, so for some easy math and an example here, let's use the number $500,000. The minimum down payment you're going to need for a conventional loan is 3%. So that is $15,000. Plus, you're going to need to have saved your closing costs, which are fees to the lender, fees to the title company, fees to process the entire transaction. Okay. And that, let's just call it $5,000 for this case. It might be a little bit more than that, but generally speaking, your minimum for a house at that price point, a house around 500 grand, is going to cost you around $20,000 out of pocket that you've got to have saved up and ready to go. If you have 20% down, let's say you've got a lot of cash, even better. That's great. But in my experience, most first-time homebuyers are putting 3, 5, 10% down, things like that. Now, let's say you have good credit, a good job, solid income. You've been approved for the mortgage payment, but you don't quite have as much saved as you want, or you don't have enough saved as financial margin after your down payment, okay? If you don't want to drain your entire savings account, there are options. So Denver does have down payment assistance programs that are good options for first-time homebuyers. I want to be very clear. If you are not in a spot where you have enough saved to be a first-time homebuyer, you shouldn't buy a house. You should make sure you've got your down payment saved, you've got financial margin, you've got an emergency fund, because stuff could come up at the house that will cost you some money. So you need to be aware of all this. I'm never going to encourage someone to buy a house if they're not ready. And a side note, one sale of a house doesn't really change my life or my business, okay? My job is to advocate for my clients and be super, super helpful for them to help them make good decisions. That way, they not only work with me and hire me as a realtor, but they refer me to all their friends and family for their lifetime. That's what changes my life and my business. And that's what pays for all the diapers for my kids, which are very expensive. Back to the first-time homebuyer programs. Honestly, we used one. We used one for our first house in 2017. This was before I was in real estate. We had some savings, but it was going to take like most of our savings. We didn't really want to drain everything. So we used a first-time homebuyer program. It paid for the entire down payment, and we just had to come to the table with our closing costs. It was incredible. So if you have questions about how these first-time homebuyer programs work, drop it in the comments, or my information is linked below. So if you want to shoot me a message, I'm happy to help you figure out your options. Honestly, I know enough about this stuff to be dangerous, and I can speak to my own personal experience, but ultimately, you're going to want to get pre-approved and ask these questions in more detail to a local lender who can help you understand your options. So again, I recommend reaching out to Allie if you want to get more details on that. Those are basically the financial steps you need to take to make sure you're ready for a successful home purchase. Next up is exploring the neighborhoods here in Denver. So Denver is a very diverse area. There's lots of neighborhoods. They all have their own unique charm and character. And as a first-time home buyer, it's very important that you explore all these different areas to find the one that suits your lifestyle and preferences best. There's trendy areas like the Rhino Arts District, and then there's family-friendly suburbs like Arvada, where I live. There's a lot of options for you to consider. All right, so now that you've got your finances in order and you know which neighborhoods are best for you or the ones that you're interested in, let's dive deeper into the most important step of the process. And this is the buyer consultation. I know it sounds really, really formal, but that's what it is. It's super important. This part of the entire process is critical, and I'm going to take a few minutes now and explain more about what this is. Some people will just like find a house on Zillow and call an agent and be like, let's go see this. And there are lots of Pop-Tart realtors, I call them. They're all over the place. You can call them and they'll just go show you a house, even if they don't know if you're pre-approved, what you're looking for. Like you really shouldn't be doing that. That's what open houses are for. If you want to just be like exploring areas, go to open houses. They're free. There are no commitments. You can just like talk to realtors and probably meet lenders and explore the neighborhoods, things like that. But if you want to get more serious about understanding your options and how to get prepared to be successful as a first-time home buyer, you need to be working with an agent who's going to do a full buyer's consultation for your sake. Okay, so I will tell you about my process. For every buyer that I work with, before we go see houses, we have a buyer consultation. It's at least an hour, and it helps them get a lot of clarity on what to expect. My office is in Rhino, so we can do it down there. Or for a lot of people, they just take me up on a Zoom call. We can do it right here in my studio, just like this. It doesn't commit you to working with me. It just gives you a lot of clarity on the process so that if you do choose to decide to hire me, you will know what to expect and you'll know you're hiring the right person. There's thousands and thousands of realtors in the Metro Denver area. I'm serious. You can talk to a lot of people and find someone who's a good fit for you. Ultimately, you need to be working with a realtor and a lender that you feel is educating you in the process, that you trust to guide you through it, to put your needs before their own. That is very, very important. So in this buyer's consultation, we go over people's wants and their needs, what they're looking for, what kind of house, where the areas are that they're interested in, their budget, the size of the home, the lot size, the garage spaces, all the things they need or want. Okay, we get it all out there on the table. Then we set up a custom MLS search for them. It's the multiple listing service. This is the place where when I sell homes, because I sell homes as well, I put it in there and then it goes to all the other websites. Zillow, Realtor, Trulia, they catch everything from the main source. So if you're a buyer, you've got to be on this website because it's the most accurate and timely source of information. For example, I had a client who's like talking to me off and on for like a couple of years. And last week they sent me home on Zillow and they're like, can we go see this house? And it's like, well, probably. Let's make sure you're approved for it. And I'll touch base with the agent right now to see if it's still available, and we'll go from there. And we'll set up a buyer consultation tomorrow. So they started getting pre-approved. We set the appointment for the buyer consultation. I touch base with the agent. Guess what? House is already under contract. Can't even go see it. Can't get it. It's done. Now we're keeping tabs on it in case it falls back out of contract. Maybe goes back in the market. My clients might have a shot at it. But ultimately, Zillow is not the best way to shop for homes because the data sometimes is lagging. And in a market where things can move fast, you don't want to put yourself in a spot where you're risking missing out on the right house for you because you weren't even looking in the right spot. This is very easy. Any agent with their license can set this up for you. It's not rocket science. So just make sure you're getting an MLS search set up for you. It's critical that you're on there. That way you can be watching the market in detail over time. So if I have buyers who might not be moving here for 6 months, I still advise getting them set up on the MLS. That way they can watch the market in their area, in their budget, consistently over time. And when they're ready to shop for a house, they are market experts. They know what to expect. They've seen how fast those houses sell. So there's a lot of advantages here to being on the MLS. So getting that set up for you is a very big part of the buyer consultation. We also go over what to expect with the contract. I give them a sample contract they can review, a sample contract of what it would be like to hire me if they choose to hire me, so they can review all this information on their own time in detail and come back to me the next time they have follow-up questions before they're ready to move on to the next step of the process. So there's other things we cover in the buyer consultation, but that's it in a nutshell. It's very important. And if you're interested in it, just know it's free. We can do it like this over a Zoom call if you're relocating. If you live in town, you want to meet in person, you can come down to my office in Rhino and we can see if we're a good fit to work together and find out what you're looking for. And I can help give you more clear steps so that you can be on your way towards becoming a homeowner successfully here in Denver. Next is how to close and become a homeowner. Okay, so up until now, you've got pre-approved, you know the neighborhoods, you've done a buyer's consultation with an agent, and you're out there shopping. Let's say you got the house under contract that you want. Amazing. So you've made an offer, and we're not going to cover how to make an offer in more detail right now. But let's just say you've got the house under contract at price and terms that you've decided working with your agent. Congratulations. That's amazing. Now you're in escrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am an escrow. I got the paperwork to prove.
Does he even know what escrow means?
So you found the home you want and you worked with your agent to get it under contract. Nice work. Now it's time to navigate the contract so that you can close and become a homeowner, which is the whole point of this, right? So you never have to waste money on rent ever again. You can start paying your own mortgage instead of someone else's. So really fast, I'm going to touch on the main points of what to expect through the contract. Again, this is a very fast overview. It is in no way a comprehensive look, but it just kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. First thing is you're going to deliver your earnest money. It goes towards a down payment and closing costs. It's not an additional cost. It's typically 1% to 2% of the home, but it's negotiable. The next thing is you're going to get all the title work in. Me and my transaction manager will help get that from the title company to you. We're going to make sure there's not any weird liens on the title or anything like that. Next, you're going to order your inspection. I will give you 3 amazing home inspection companies that you can choose from, but you can hire whoever you want as long as they're a good, reputable, professional home inspector. This is one of the most important parts of the entire process, is the home inspection. This can make or break the deal. I recently got a home under contract that is 110 years old, and inspection was kind of a bitch on this one. It was crazy. However, thankfully, we were able to navigate through the process and get all of the things addressed that were health, safety, major systems, and the things that the buyers wanted negotiated for. We got it done successfully. It was a lot of negotiations though. Sometimes that happens with older homes. I also have a brand new home under contract. It's 2 years old. That inspection was a breeze. There were still a few things that came up, but they weren't as insane. So I've seen everything in between happen. I've seen deal breakers come up. I've seen nothing come up. It all depends on the house, but you need to make sure you get all that information so that if there's things that cost too much money that the seller's not willing to fix, or things that they're just not fixable, you can't buy that house. So it's very important you have the right contingencies in your contract so you can get out of the contract at inspection if deal breakers come up. So navigating that is a really big part of it. If you're getting a loan, next thing is going to be an appraisal. It's a third party. They're going to come in, they're going to do a detailed look at everything and decide if they think it's worth market value. I have mixed feelings about this because here's the thing. Before we even make an offer in this house, me and my clients, we're already doing a mini appraisal on our own so that we can decide, is this house really worth it? Is it overpriced? If it's overpriced, I will freaking tell them that. It's literally my job. we might need to negotiate that price down for it to be a good deal so that they're not at risk of having to pay an appraisal gap. The other side of this coin is if this is the right house for my client, and this has happened a lot of times too, they might be competing with multiple offers and have to go above list price and offer to pay the difference in appraisal gap coverage to get that house. For some people, that's important to them, and it really is all up to you. But navigating the appraisal process can be a little bit confusing, so it's important you have clarity upfront about what to expect for the appraisal so that when you're in the middle of it, you're not stressed out like crazy. Because let's be real, the whole process is stressful in general. I've done this twice myself as a buyer. It's stressful. I get it. Then you're going to make sure you have homeowner's insurance secured on the house. You're going to finalize all the details with your loan, with your lender. There's some other things that happen through the contract phase, but those are most of the big bullet points you got to be aware of before you even enter the contract so that you're ready for these things. And then you close and become a homeowner. I hand you the keys. Pop! We cheers. Congratulations. You never have to pay rent again. Nice. That's the whole point. Then you can move into your own space and start making it your own. The first house my wife and I bought, it was great for us. We kept it for 5 years. Then we flipped it to an Airbnb. We moved to this place, bought our dream house, which is incredible. Okay. But the first step, that was the hardest one. Just getting into the market, getting your first house. It's tricky. The entire process is new. There's a lot to process. And with that learning curve and spending all that money and signing up for that big loan, it's a lot. So it's very, very important that you know exactly what you're getting into and you're working with a team that is going to support you and your needs first. And there you have it, future Denver homeowners. Buying your first home is an exciting journey, and being prepared is the key to success. From understanding the market to closing the deal, we've covered the essential steps you're going to need to know that will help guide you through the process. So if you have any questions or you want to reach out for more information, feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to help. You can put your questions below in the comments. Again, my direct info is down there. You can shoot me an email anytime, or you can shoot me a text. And if it's between 9 and 5 Mountain Standard Time, I will respond to you in the same day. If you prefer to simply read more information for yourself before reaching out, or if this is just kind of like a one day, maybe down the road thing for you, depending on finances or a new job or something like that, then you can download my free Denver first time homebuyer guide by clicking the link right here. It's a very helpful PDF that covers all of the topics we discussed today in more details that are designed to be helpful for you. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.